Morning or whatever time it is for folks. Who do we have on the call today?
Hi, I just started the webcast just to save time, so go ahead whenever you're ready.
Oh, awesome. Thanks so much, Jonathan. All right. Hi, folks. Welcome to the August 15th Add-ons community meeting. Looks like we've got a couple of folks. If everybody who's here could just take a moment to go to the agenda and write your name down on the attendance list, that would be awesome. I wanted to kick off our meeting with a recognition of a friend of add-on. So first I wanted to recognize that Oriel Brufau has been named as our third quarter friend of add-ons. Oriel has been on fire for the last year, um, fixing web extensions bugs and also implementing new web extensions APIs. So it's been really great to have him as a member of the community, kind of helping expand the web extensions APIs so developers have more tools to create awesome extensions. And we're really fortunate to have him around. Shivam is also here on the call, so I just wanted to say hi and say thank you so much for helping mentor some bugs on AMO. We really appreciate it and your enthusiasm for getting your community in. So thanks so much, Shivam. We have a couple of updates to share with folks this week. So number one is I wanted to check in about the add-on reviewer update. And I think Philip is on the call with us right now. So hi, Philip.
Hey.
After after a long time of revisiting add-on policies and the change to the web extensions API, the change to the post review, we're now in a place where we can start onboarding new add-on reviewers, um, comma, starting next week. So what's happened, so before the process was interested folks who wanted to review extensions would apply to the program and they would share a link to their extension. We would take a look at the code and kind of make a subjective judgment call about whether or not they had the skills needed to be able to review extensions listed on AMO. So with this new process, we're trying to bring a little bit more objectivity into the process. And so we're asking folks who are interested in contributing to this opportunity to go through an assessment quiz, which kind of covers a couple of questions about JavaScript and a couple of questions about applying the Mozilla add-on policies to JavaScript that you see in the field. So we're hoping that this gives a little bit more of an overview into what it is actually like to be a reviewer. So folks can kind of like get their toes wet a little bit. And then on the back end, we have a slightly better understanding of what skills folks have that can, that they'll be able to bring to the table and how well they're able to kind of understand how to apply the policies, which is a huge help to us. Currently, we have this assessment in a beta or a soft launch period where we've sent it to a couple of folks who are longtime community members who have been around for a while and have been very interested in this opportunity. So we're collecting their feedback and we're checking in to see how they're doing. And we are expecting to make a public announcement that this contribution opportunity is open again on Monday. So I know a lot of people have been very anxious to see this contribution opportunity open back up again. I want to thank everybody for their patience while we worked on this. It was a pretty labor-intensive process that was moved forward by Andreas and Philip primarily, and very grateful for them for taking the time to do this. And that's that. Philip, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I think you summarized it pretty good. We're really excited to see applications coming in and figuring out who could join us on the new team. And so I'm really looking forward to getting some of those add-ons reviewed.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It'll be nice to bring some new folks up on board too. So our next big update is about themes on themes for Firefox. So we're talking about um, so we're talking about themes that customize the appearance of your browser. We're not quite talking about dynamic themes just yet. So our over the last couple of months, our engineers have been working on upgrading the code that makes the themes run. to be web extensions compatible. So themes will still look and feel the same way as they did in the old framework. It's just that the stuff under the hood is going to be a little bit different and hopefully work a little bit better. So this new framework and the new submission flow that goes along with it, this is going to launch tomorrow when AMO updates. Just a heads up, we're not going to make a public announcement about this just yet. It's still in the soft launch phase. So we've reached out to some of our most invested theme folks, and we've asked them to do a little bit of testing for us, both on the dev server and when it launches tomorrow, so that if anything looks weird or if they catch any bugs, we might be able to look into them before we kind of open the floodgates to everybody else. So big thanks to Andrew Williamson for kind of moving that project forward from an engineering perspective. I think this will be good for our community. Although unfortunately, these new themes won't be compatible with Personas Plus. So that is the drawback right now. So we're also looking at finding a solution to help Personas Plus users retain the features that they love the most out of Personas Plus. Just find another way to, another place to put them. Mike, is there anything you want to add to that? I know themes we kind of talked about themes a little bit earlier in the summer. We kind of said, well, we need to think about this a little bit more. So I was just wondering if there's anything else you wanted to add to this.
Probably not a lot, just to let people know that if you haven't checked out the test pilot of Firefox Color, that's likely the direction we're heading for both themes and theme management. So that's a good test pilot experiment to go check out.
Also super fun.
Yes.
And they have a nice, also super fun. I really enjoyed turning my browser into a hot dog a couple of days ago. So the next thing on our list is I wanted to give everybody here an early heads up that we are going to be announcing the timeline for disabling legacy extensions on AMO next week. So this has been a long time in coming. This was part of our overall strategy to get legacy extensions kind of out of the Firefox ecosystem. So first with Firefox 57, Firefox would only support extensions built using the Web Extensions API. AMO decided to follow a parallel development path, so AMO features are optimized to support the web extension or extensions that use the Web Extensions API. And now that the Firefox extended support release, ESR 52, which is the last supported Mozilla Firefox build that is compatible with legacy extensions, that is reaching end of life and will no longer be supported starting on September 5th of this year. So that's in a couple of weeks. So given that Mozilla will no longer officially be supporting a build that's compatible with legacy extensions, we have made the decision to disable legacy extensions on AMO. So there's a couple of things that I just want to point out for any users who may be listening in on this. While we definitely don't recommend this, if you are running a version of Firefox that was compatible with legacy extensions, so we're talking about ESR 52 or prior or some other non-supported build, your legacy extensions will continue working. Similarly, if you run that unsupported version of Firefox and you find a legacy extension from another source, so either on GitHub or if somebody shares a link on Tumblr, and you install it, it will install and it will run. This having been said, we do not recommend that anybody runs an unsupported version of Firefox because there's some really bad security implications. So I just want to clarify and let folks know kind of what the lay of the land is, but that we do not condone this behavior, and we will not be supporting people who want to go find unsupported builds of Firefox and installing unsecure legacy extensions on them. So this, so
also,
that's
actually, let me add on from the review perspective, if you happen to find an add-on somewhere on GitHub, always make sure you trust the author or have reviewed the code. If the better thing to do would be to make sure to look at the add-ons from addons.mozilla.org.
Yes, listen to what, Philip's got a good point there. I was going to say, listen to what Philip says. which is also a good thing to do in general. So what's going to happen then is that we're actually going to stop accepting submissions of updated legacy versions, I believe on September 6th. So anybody who wants to push one last final version or one last final update to their legacy extension, they have until that time to do so. And then we will no longer be accepting legacy versions. And then later on, probably in early October is when we're actually going to start disabling all legacy versions. So that means that if you go to AMO to search for a legacy extension and you go to the old front end, which will actually show the old non-compatible versions, you won't be able to do that anymore. And part of this is because we are actually going to be retiring the old legacy AMO front end sometime in Q4. So this is ultimately going to bring us there. So that's the timeline. This is going to be communicated to developers who have legacy extensions listed on AMO in an email next week, and we're also going to post something on the add-ons blog. So just a heads up to everybody, you might see a small spike in users or developers complaining. That's totally okay. Developers are still able to port their legacy extensions if there's compatible APIs to the Web Extensions API at any time. That'll revive their listing on AMO and be pushed to any users who still have the legacy version installed. So users will automatically be re-opted in. And we are going to point developers back to the same kind of area that we had set up for the 57 launch to give them a sense of like what resources they have available, how they can test their extension, where they can go to get some help if they need help porting. Are there any questions about disabling legacy extensions? Okay, cool. If any come up, please feel free to let us know. It's so funny because some of this news feels really last year, but we are definitely still trying to help manage this as we move forward to disabling legacy extensions. So the last thing I wanted to bring up is good first bugs on AMO. It's really awesome that we've seen so many new folks come in and look at some of those good first bugs. So Shivam, and it's been, I also just wanted to give everybody a heads up and let them know that we're going to be seeing some more contributors come in and looking for those good first bugs on AMO. So there's a couple of things about that. One, I'm really excited that people want to get involved. I think it signals that AMO is a good, friendly experience for new contributors to open source projects. And it's like a really great way that you can land code to something that gets seen by millions of users. It also does a lot for us. It helps us make sure that the site is maintained and that some paper cut bugs get fixed. Like, I think it's good all the way around. That having been said, capacity is a small concern, both in just because we do have a limited engineering staff. So I would just ask that if you can help mentor some of those good first bugs, that would be great. And also, if you're trying to get somebody involved, just let them know that if they look and it doesn't look like there's a lot of good first bugs available, that if they check back in about like every other week or so, more might become available. Usually what happens is when new features get launched, a whole bunch of bugs get found and we find a bunch of stuff that can qualify as a maybe good first bug and will go into our good first bug triage. This summer it's been a little bit light, I think, because some projects have been underway. So as we see more features like the new theme submission flow get landed, I think we should be able to start seeing more maybe good first bugs. Is anybody and Jorge is not here to really speak to that, so maybe the next time we have a community meeting, you just check in with Jorge and ask what some of those statuses are, just to see if we have more good first bugs coming up. The other thing that we could start doing, especially for folks who want to get people contributing code to the add-ons ecosystem, is that we actually don't see a lot of good first bug contributors to the Web Extensions API. And we do have a curated list of good first bugs for the Web Extensions API. It's a little different from contributing to AMO. It's not on GitHub. You do have to be able to search the Mozilla Central code, which can get a little complex. And it uses a Mercurial workflow and not a Git workflow, so it's a little bit different. That having been said, that code goes directly into Firefox when it lands, and also does a lot to help grow the ecosystem. Things that we asked Oriel to do was to actually share his experience about how he got started contributing to the Web Extensions API and like what tips he would have for folks who are new to the system, specifically so that we could get more people on that contribution path. So that's another area that you might want to point people to. It also doesn't use React or Redux, but if you have working knowledge of JavaScript, you should be able to contribute to the Good First Bugs for Web Extensions. Any questions about that? Anybody want to add anything to that? Okay, cool. So those are all of my updates of things that are new and exciting in the add-ons world right now. Does anyone want to share anything that they're working on, or I'd like to open up the floor for any questions or any other discussion items that folks would like to talk about. Okay. All right. Well, good stuff. Well, it's good seeing everybody's faces. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll be back again in 2 weeks with more exciting updates. And hopefully we'll be able to report out on the launch of how some of these things go next week. So take care, have fun, and if you have any questions, please feel free to give us a ring. And thanks so much for joining us today.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Bye.
Bye.
Add-on video connects train application to application. Your video connects train add-ons community.